Everyone, it's Emily. Today's video is going to be part 1 of my April wrap-up. I have been reading a ton of books. I'm not in a reading slump basically, so I currently have already read 7 books for April, so this is going to be part 1 of my wrap-up. I will be linking when it's up part 2. I'm not sure if I'm going to be doing that a lot, but I feel like if I've read enough books halfway point the month, it's pretty much better if I do a video like mid-month wrap-up, because last month I finished like 14 books and it was a little ridiculous trying to review everything in one video. So let's go through the 7 books that I've read so far this month. So I'm gonna go through them in order of the first one I finish and just go and let you know how I feel about them. Okay! So the first book I finished was The Magicians by Lev Grossman. This is such a hard book to review because I have like really mixed feelings. I really like some bits and I really didn't care for other ones. I think my main issue with it is just the overall, I'm forgetting that word, but like things were like the timing of everything was kind of off. After really thinking about it, I decided that if I had to review this book in like one sentence, it would be something like a muggle-born Draco Malfoy that grew up reading Narnia and discovers that magic is real and then maybe Narnia too. That's like the best way of reviewing it for everyone to know. But basically, you're following a main character. He's definitely not likable. Actually, none of the characters are likable here. They're all young adults. Well, like adults. They're all going to university and they all are pretty depressed. That's basically the reason. They're all sent to that magical school. And as I was mentioning, the timing was kind of off. Like the first 100 pages, you literally learn, you know, you're presented the first main character. And then he learns that, you know, magic is real. He's sent to the magical school to do the test. He passes it and goes through the first 2 years of the school all in 100 pages. Which kind of just shows, I don't know, it was kind of meh. For me, I expected the whole thing to be more of a daily basis, like everyday type of thing. That's why I was mentioning how we were like pretty much lucky with Harry Potter since each book was like 1 year. And then the like 4 years in school were like the first 200 pages and it's like a 400 pages book. So half the book was actually about the magical school, and that's kind of how a lot of people like push this book as like, you know, Harry Potter, an adult Harry Potter, which is really not. But it is the magical school, so when you go into it thinking that, you're probably going to be a little disappointed because the magical school is kind of just the basic of the story and like it goes way bigger than that. So yeah, I was disappointed with that. I was also disappointed with kind of the ending. Like technically the book is separated in 4 different books, and the last one, or especially the ending, was just so weird to me and kind of left me a little eh. However, I am very excited to continue. I gave it like 3.5 because it's so hard to review. So don't go into it expecting anything except like unlikable main characters or like depressed ones. They're like so edgy and smarter than everyone. So if you expect that, you're probably gonna enjoy it more than a lot of people did. I did like it. I am continuing the series. I did try to watch a TV show. I watched the first episode, but in literally the first episode, there's some spoilers for the second book. So I think I'm gonna read the books and then only then watch the TV show. Maybe there's no more spoilers. Let me know if you know, but I'm just not gonna take the risk. So yeah, I'm gonna finish the books before watching the TV show and let you know on Goodreads how I feel about the whole thing, or whenever I read the last book or something. So yeah, I liked it, but like go into it with no expectation. Just, it's closer to Narnia than Harry Potter. So second book I finished was Good Behavior by Blake Crouch. I've been raving about Blake Crouch books a lot, like Dark Matter and the Wayward Pine series. Would recommend all of these, love them. However, hating is a big word, but like I was so disappointed with this. This is basically 3 short stories that became a TV show. A lot of people were recommending the TV show to me and I haven't watched it yet. That's a different story. But this was crap. I was so mad reading it because these really felt like skeletons. Like there's, you know, an overall story. And you know what? A lot of people were mentioning that Dark Matter read like a script for a movie because the writing, there's no prose to it. It's not like pretty writing. It's definitely like, oh, you're really stressed the whole time and you have to read the whole thing. But I feel like the story was so good that it really didn't matter. Wasn't the case here. It just felt really rushed, and there's like a little twist at the end of each story, but they're so freaking obvious, and I was so disappointed with it. I gave it 2 stars I don't even know why. Maybe because the ideas of the stories were not bad, it just, the whole thing was anyway, I'm still wanting to watch a TV show. I did try actually to watch it, but I was trying to stream it and I couldn't find the first episode, so I will try to do that and update you on Goodreads on the review of the book to let you know if at least the TV show is worth it, because a lot of people are saying it is, but don't waste your money, don't waste your time. I'm not saying you wouldn't like it at all, but I was just so disappointed with it. If you have to read, like if you're planning on reading one book from him, don't go with that. Just start with Dark Matter, and then if you like it, go with the Wayward Pines series. It's just, I'm so sad about that one. Then I read 6 Weeks by Mur Lafferty, which I feel like a lot of the books I've been reading so far are kind of hard to describe. This one is kind of a mystery sci-fi, or a sci-fi mystery. You're following a crew of 6 people that are in space that are being sent basically to a different planet, and all the crew is made of clones. So basically, if someone dies because they're old, you know, they just revive a different clone, put their memory in there, and everything is fine. However, at one point, everyone wakes up in a clone and they can see their dead bodies. So basically, one of the 6 people killed everyone and they had to figure out who it is because they can't remember anything. And the idea was brilliant. Loved the premise. The execution was fine too. My only thing is, like, there was a lot of back and forth between the present and then you would like learn more about the past of each character. I can't say I was actually shocked by the ending, but it was still fine. I think my main issue with it was, for some reason, the writing. I think it's the dialogues that felt a little forced, and just, if you've read this, basically let me know how you felt about it, because there was something in there that was lacking, but I can't pinpoint exactly what. So if you're someone that likes sci-fi and likes mystery, I do think it's a good read. I believe this is an adult book, but it read a little YA, so if you're someone that reads a lot of YA books, but you're kind of intimidated by adults, I think this is a good way of starting. I really enjoyed the whole information about the clones and just artificial intelligence and how, like, you know, the possible ethical issues that could happen in the future type of thing. I do think there was some really interesting points in here. So yeah, I believe I'm giving it 3.75. I believe I also rounded up to 4 on Goodreads, pretty sure. But either way, it was a good read. It didn't blow my mind, but I do think a lot of people would enjoy this. Are you sensing a pattern? I feel like all the books that I've been reading are like quite dark on the cover, like black and white. Which, no different here. I read Solaris by Stanislaw Lem, which, thank you to whoever told me that this was a translation of a translation. I believe the author is Polish, and then it was translated to French because it's like closer to Polish, and then translated to English. And I can kind of tell in the beginning, the prose was really pretty, but it felt like a translation. So in the future, if I read anything else from this author, I will try to get it in French. Hopefully I can find it. So yeah, this, if you don't know, is a classic sci-fi and adult sci-fi, and I love how it was a different take on the whole alien thing. It's not really first contact, because I think it's set up a little bit in between lines that humans have been in contact with other aliens that are more like us. But in this book, you're following a crew on the planet, and this planet is different because the alien is basically a like sentient ocean. And I thought it was really interesting because I feel like very often in sci-fi, aliens will be very much like us or like future us. So this was really great to see like how difficult it would actually be to like connect to alien life that is an ocean. So definitely a very, very interesting read. However, I can't say I had a lot of fun reading it, and I feel like those are like 2 different things, like something that is really interesting that just makes you think, and then something that is really fun that you can't put down. So it wasn't a fun read, but it definitely was an interesting one. There were some bits that were quite long, and it's a short book. It's like 200 and something pages, but learning the history of the planet did become a little long. I did still enjoy it, but I think the part that really put me to sleep was when they were listing all the different shapes the ocean would make that people were trying to interpret and just, you know, learn the language of the ocean. That got a little long, just gonna admit it. I did also watch the movie to try and compare it because I remember watching it but not really enjoying it. And I have to say the movie isn't that far from the book. I feel like a lot of people were saying they're different. I feel like they're pretty close. They have a few differences. They are missing one of my favorite scenes in here, and they did add a twist to the movie, but I still think they're pretty similar in my opinion. But yeah, again, it's Another book that is kind of hard to review. So if you are someone that reads a lot of sci-fi, hard sci-fi, and you're looking to read more classic, something maybe a little different, I would definitely recommend this book. However, if you're someone that just never reads sci-fi, please don't start with this. You probably will not enjoy this. I feel like my favorite bit was definitely the beginning and then like one scene later on. But like in the beginning, it feels very like everything is weird. You don't know what's going on and everything. And I like the whole like ambiance of it all, but it definitely felt almost like you're reading a non-fiction about that planet. One of my favorite books that I've read so far this month has to be Children of Blood and Bone by Tomi Adeyemi. And this was such a surprise. I feel like a lot of people have heard of that book. It's been raved a lot right now. It's like the new YA fantasy that is everywhere on BookTube, and I feel you. Like, I feel like sometimes you kind of become a little skeptical when everyone is raving about a new YA book, because obviously there are people that are paid to promote it. I have nothing against sponsored videos. I will actually do a video about it because I know it can be a little controversial, but I have some strong opinions about it. And I was also a little skeptical whenever people started raving about it, so I read it myself. And I have to say, in my opinion, the hype is real. I do think it's a really fantastic story. The world building, the magic system is definitely the best part of it. It's definitely different from the ones I've been reading right now. It's like kind of linked to like religion and like each god having a certain power, and people that basically have like white hair are the ones that are like chosen to have magic. But then the royal family basically killed everyone that had magic and blah blah blah. I don't want to go too much into it. I feel like it's kind of better to just, you know, sink into the story yourself. The world building and the magic system were the best part of the book. It is quite a big book. It's like almost 600 pages, I believe, so quite thick, and there were some bits that were a little long. But overall, I really enjoyed the story. But I kind of like reviewing books by mentioning the bad sides or my least favorite sides. I think it's the best way of reviewing a book. Let me know how you feel about that, because I can definitely adjust my reviews depending on how people feel about it. But personally, I think that's kind of, I feel like you get more information by someone telling you what they didn't like than what they like. Because even if I rave about the magic system for 10 minutes, it kind of just, you know, let me know. So what I didn't like about it is the romance. I feel like at this point I've been very open about me not liking romance in general. However, I feel like it's kind of worse in the YA books that I read. It tends to be insta love, which it was. And I hate how it feels very forced in the sense that everyone needs to be matched up with everyone. Like, you can't have the main character, especially if she's a girl, she has to be matched with someone. It's just how it is. And even the side characters, everyone needs to end up with everyone. Kind of a little bit a la Harry Potter, which, right? Like, Ron and Hermione should not be together. Anyway, so it kind of felt like that. You know, the dialogues and just the overall romance was definitely very, very cheesy. And it was definitely, in my opinion, the main weakness of the story. And I was like talking about it to a friend, and we feel like this would have been a better story if it had been an adult book. Maybe? Do you agree? It is a debut novel, and I do think it's really, really great. I believe that it's also been assigned to become a movie, which I do think would be really great. So yes, I am totally going to be reading the next one. I gave this one 4 stars, by the way, so it's like super great for me. Anything over 3 stars is good, which I'm realizing I didn't give. This one was a 3 stars. I do think a lot of people would enjoy it. Just be aware, there's romance, it's YA, so it's a little but if you focus mostly on the magic system and the story, you might definitely enjoy it as much as I did. So yeah, I recommend it. The next book is also one of my favorite reads of the month, and it is The Andromeda Strain by Micheal Crichton. See what I did there? I pronounced it right. I feel like everyone is tired of me saying Micheal Crichton, which, sorry about that. So now I pronounce it okay. We can go into the story. I'm gonna start actually with the negative because, again, I think it's the best way of saying it. This is the most dry writing ever. Like, literally felt like you're like eating a cracker in dessert. Like, it's very, very dry. It reads pretty much like a military / scientific report. And yeah, that was the main negative to me. However, I truly enjoy this. If you're someone that already likes sci-fi, I definitely think you would enjoy this. It's kind of a different twist, different take to the whole like first encounter, first contact with aliens. And there's basically a disease in here. And I don't want to say too much because this book is like 200 and something pages. So it's like kind of short, kind of blew my mind. I don't know how accurate some of the things are still for today because it was written in 1969. So it's a pretty old book, but I really enjoyed it, and I didn't have any like big complaint about it except for the writing, which again, it didn't bother me that much. I did give this a 4-star, and I believe, is there a TV show or something about it? Because I really need to watch this. If you have seen, was it a movie, a TV show? Let me know if it's worth the watch. But basically in this book you're following how the government would react if basically satellite that had been in contact with alien bring down some mysterious disease that kills a whole town, and then what would be the steps that they would take and everything. So yeah, I really enjoyed it. I'm not sure how much I'm selling this book right now, but if you already like hard sci-fi or like books about disease, I would definitely recommend reading this one. I enjoyed it. Do you see what I mean by like all the books that I read were like black and white pretty much? Except the last book that I finished, which was the most boring book I have read like ever, honestly. This is The Sixth Extinction, an Unnatural History by Elizabeth Kolbert. And man, was this boring. I like nonfiction, and I thought this one was going to be fascinating, basically learning about what's happening right now, how we're like basically going through the Sixth Extinction. I do think part of my issues with the book were my own fault, my own expectation, but it's kind of like you're always gonna have some type of expectation when you're going through the book. It's like basically why you're going through it, right? And I thought we would learn a little bit about the past 5 ones and then go through what's going to happen right now, what's going on right now. And but the structure of the book was mainly each chapter was like a different like species that's like going through extinction, or the ones that already have, and basically what's going on. And then there's a lot of back and forth between some of the past extinctions. So the structure was kind of one of the things that left me a little disappointed with it. And like literally the first 45 minutes, I did listen to it mostly as an audiobook, and the first 45 minutes you're learning everything you didn't even want to know about rainforest frogs. So definitely a very, very boring read. And you know how whenever you're following a nonfiction when authors like traveling everywhere, you learn a little bit more about the author, and sometimes it works really well. Like Jon Ronson, I read his book about being publicly shamed, and I'm currently listening to the audiobook about psychopaths. And I have no issue with him doing that. Same thing whenever I read Something from Mars by Mary Roach. She does the same thing, so I have no issue with that type of writing in general. However, it felt like I didn't like the author, which is ridiculous and kind of pointless. But if I give you the example that really made me like put down the book and just not want to finish it, she was visiting a place, whatever, and she asked the girl that works at a gift shop to give her a tour. And the girl at the gift shop told her that she was busy. And then the author wrote that, as far as I could tell, we were the only 2 people there, which passive aggressive much? Like, she works at the gift shop. It's not her job to give you a tour from the whole place, you know what I mean? So for some reason that literally gave me the proof that I needed to say that I really didn't like the book. It was kind of the last drop for me. So yeah, if you have read this book, please let me know how you personally felt about it, because there were so many, like, you know, it won so many prizes, but a lot of the reviews that I've seen on Goodreads were very polarized. It's either people loving it or people being like, why the hell do people like this? Which is where I'm at. So yeah, no. So yeah, those are the first 7 books that I finished in April. I'm currently listening, like I said, to the Psychopath Test by Jon Ronson, which is funny. The author is so awkward, but in the best way possible. Like, the beginning especially, I was giggling again in public. I don't know what's wrong with me. I'm always giggling in public whenever I read some books, but this one is definitely one of them. And I'm currently also reading Children of Time, which is another sci-fi first contact with aliens. Clearly, I'm done with any like post-apocalyptic, and I'm currently in first contact mode. So that's it, guys. Please let me know in the comment section how your reading month is going. What book are you reading? Which one are you enjoying or not enjoying? Have you read any of the ones that I talked about? Are you planning to? Any opinions? I like to discuss everything in the comment section. Don't forget to also follow me on Goodreads if you want to keep up with what I'm currently reading. I always have a lot of fun just replying to comments there too. So yeah, that's gonna be it. I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to give it a big thumbs up. I will be putting on the screen some other videos that I've done that I recommend you check out. And don't forget to subscribe because you don't want to miss any future videos. And I will see you in my next one. Bye.